Hi all, thanks for joining us sitting in front of the fire. It is getting deeper into autumn and the nights are starting to get a bit cooler. So it is also the time that people start to look to the more carb heavy, nutrient dense foods because we go into our winter hibernation. So we thought it would be a good time to interview Jade on what she does to ramp up her metabolism before winter to make sure that she doesn't put on too many of those hibernating kilos, but also what she's found in working with clients in resetting their metabolism as well. So Jade, you've been health type assessing quite a lot of people.
Yes.
What is it about the health type assessments that caused you to want to use that with your clients?
Well, when I came across the technology of, it was then PH360, I actually thought it was a load of crap.
So?
I thought that I'm quite a skeptical person, and I thought that it was just a load of rubbish, but I did it anyway. And what I found was, it was like it was reading my mind. It resonated with me absolutely, and it solved a lot of questions that I had because I always thought that there was something wrong with me.
And that's what a lot of your clients have said as well when they've had their health type.
Especially the more mesomorphic types, the activators and connectors, they've gone through their lives being told to slow down, calm down, you're too skittery, these sorts of things. And when you start to realise that that is your natural way of functioning well, you can work with it much better, and you're not trying to be something that you're not.
So when you did your health type assessment, you also followed the way it suggested for you to eat.
That was the first thing that I noticed because, like most of us, when a new fancy way of eating came about, I would try it. And I remember trying intermittent fasting, and I was just horrible. I was so grumpy.
I think I actually gained weight when I did fasting. I got so stressed out, I got stress belly, like fluidy and everything.
And I couldn't think properly. I was just miserable. And so to find out that a little bit more about how my digestive system works and that I need these smaller meals through the day, it's really helped me keep a nice even keel of mood, especially my mood. So I'm not as, I don't get as fiery or hangry, very, very hangry.
And so also you were, a couple of years ago, you were carrying about 11, 12 kilos more weight than you are now.
Yeah, I actually attribute it to getting older, which a lot of people do. They're like, oh well, I'm nearly 40, I'm over the hill. That's just what happens. Your metabolism slows down, and all the bullshit that you've fed. I was actually buying into that and thought, well, I used to be athletic. Those days are over now. I can never get back that again. So it was a timely introduction to this technology that I was able to turn that all around.
Very cool. Now, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but you weren't just athletic, you were actually an athlete.
I was an athlete, and it's interesting, if I could go back there and use this technology, I would have been much, much better. Hindsight's wonderful. So now I get the opportunity to share this with people of all ages and help them navigate just a maze of information, because the information is right for them. How they choose to use it, though, is up to them.
So you talked about your health type, your body type, and intermittent fasting didn't work for you, but it can work for some people. Like, there's results out there on the web. So does this technology help people to understand, like, whether intermittent fasting is going to work for them, or should they be a 5 meals a day type person?
Absolutely. And most people, when you get down to what suits their body best, they know. You know your body better than anyone else does. They go, oh, I always felt better when I ate like that, or I've always tried to force myself to have breakfast because breakfast is important, but they never really enjoyed it. And so it is it fills gaps for some people, but then for others it's more like, well, I know that because I've always felt better doing that, so it's just an affirmation for them.
I find that interesting because as well, the same goes for types of exercise. Like the health types that are meant to be big, strong, resilient people
Hate cardio.
hate cardio. They just hate it,
Cardio.
and then they're like, ooh, they always grind themselves out of bed at 5 a.m. to go and get flogged at a HIIT class, and they've always just hated it. Whereas they need to just do strength. They need to just, they're built to be strong. Go be strong, and you get the best benefits.
That's
and a lot
true.
of people deep inside, they're like, oh, I knew that. Or thank you for telling me that because I actually prefer to do strength training.
And it's not an excuse to not exercise at all, because we all need to move. It's just finding that type of movement that A, you really enjoy, and B, that works well for your body. I had a wonderful client who was a grandmother, and she got frumpy as she got older, and she came to me and she said, I need to lose some weight. And being a PT as well, when I trained her, she thought I would flog her, and that was how the weight would come off. And it was very specific type of exercise for her health type, and she followed the food and she just shed tons of weight. She looked fantastic.
And now she's running around with the grandkids.
She is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so we've got a webinar coming up on how to tell if you are healthy at all sizes, because obviously now we've talked about there's health types, which indicates that there's like people of different shapes and sizes. So we can all be healthy depending on what our shape and size is. But how do we tell if we're unhealthy at that body type?
There's also certain, I suppose, mental parameters that I work with people as well. Generally, the bigger bear type people, they're not grouchy. So if you're grouchy when you shouldn't be, clearly there's something wrong. That's like a very, very basic way to look at it.
So you're really passionate about mood food, right? So a lot of indicators that you talk about is to do with
mood. So if you're super intolerant, where really you should have the resilience not to be intolerant to people, then something's going amiss, and you dig a little bit deeper, and it's always the diet is letting the personality down, if that makes sense.
And then you often see like the on the health side of things, for me in naturopathy, then we start to see the cholesterol markers are bumping up, the thyroid markers are starting to get affected, and often the hormones start getting dysregulated as well.
And then there's the swelling of the hands and the
Puffiness.
the puffiness, the odd aches and pains. One client in particular, we're really working on eliminating foods that cause inflammation, and I can tell within minutes of her walking into the gym that she's been eating poorly, because she's wheezing and she's hunched over, and I get her to go on the ground and she's going when she's getting on the ground.
Creaking and groaning.
She's creaking.
Yeah.
And her hands start to swell up as well. So there's all these little, it's your body is talking to you, and it's giving you all of these cues. So if we're not listening to that, then we're just waiting for the doctor to come and go,
You've now got diabetes.
That's right.
You've now got heart problems or whatever. Yeah.
Or you've got these, and then you just spend your day going from appointment to appointment. And you could look back on that timeline and go, I remember when my hands used to swell up when I would eat this, but people just ignore that.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that, or what we're building is in this webinar is that we have heaps of different ways that we can assess how you can assess at home before you get those GP results saying that you have X, Y, or Z wrong with you, that you've got these indicators that your body talks to you about. We're going to go into this in more depth in our webinar. So make sure you drop a comment below if you want us to send you that booking link to book in for that webinar next week, because we'll be going into all of those little assessment things that you can use on yourself as well to tell if that body fat that you're carrying is actually headed in the direction of chronic disease, but we also, a very important marker is muscle mass that a lot of people don't talk about as well. You can have more body fat and not much muscle mass as well.
It's a term that we call skinny fat.
But people like in the beanpole, like my side, the long, gangly, tall people who often appear lean and people think that they're healthy, but they have no muscle mass and actually have chronic disease indicators at that end of the spectrum as well.
That's right. It is a fine balance between having enough muscle and enough fat, because we all need fat. And you go to the other side, way on the other side of the spectrum, when you've got people that are competing in competitions and they have no body fat, they're not exactly healthy either. So we need to find that bit in the middle.
Yeah. So we're going to cover all of those little telltale signs that we use in natural medicine and in health coaching to help our clients make sure that they don't get that message from their GP that you've got to come in about your blood results.
No one wants that.